Everyone. Great to see everybody on, and happy Tourism Awareness Month. I guess a little bit around that. We typically have our conference in February. COVID kind of played with all of that. We thought we'd do a hybrid event. We couldn't get that to work and be as inclusive as we wanted it to be. But the one opportunity that, or I guess the two opportunities that the conference brings to us is the ability to bring the entire province together with other partners, and also to highlight the value of tourism to the provincial economy and actually way of life. We thought that we would not be able to do that successfully with a conference this year. So we branded May as Tourism Awareness Month. So throughout the month, you will see different things that are happening. One of the biggest topics that we've been hearing from operators on has been the increase in insurance premiums. I don't want to preempt or be the spoiler for what our presenter today is going to talk about, but the opportunity that the Insurance Bureau of Canada presented to us was to have somebody come and address why this is happening, and perhaps offer some insights into some alternatives. So without saying anything further, I'd like to introduce Tom Levesque, who is our representative in Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Labrador. And I think Tom may have somebody with him. So Tom, I'll turn it to you, and you can take it from here. Welcome.
And before we jump in, Mr. Foley, just to remind folks, I know you've done 1,000 Zooms, but unless you're going to speak or ask a question, put yourself on mute, and that will help Tom's presentation as well. We are recording this. If you do raise your hand, either virtually in one of the little reaction buttons, I'll get to you for your question, or if you want to type your question in the chat, I'll kind of monitor that, folks, because Tom's going to be busy giving a presentation. And Tom, I apologize if I jump in if I see a question. I usually let the speaker go, but if a question is pertinent to the topic, I might just say, Tom, because someone had a questioning, and can you just deal with that right away? Does that make sense to you?
Certainly, Stan. That's
okay.
Great.
Well, then I'll follow Craig Foley's advice, and the virtual mic is yours, Tom.
Great. Thank you so much, Stan, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting IBC to present to folks today. So I'm particularly thankful to Craig Foley and Stan for organizing this. And as I said, my name's Tom Levesque. I'm a government relations manager with Insurance Bureau of Canada, located in Halifax. I look after mostly Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, but I work closely with my colleagues that look after the other two Atlantic provinces, and we work on a number of what I would call Atlantic Canadian matters. So as you know, I'm located in Nova Scotia, and I've been over to Newfoundland and Labrador a number of times on business, particularly in and around St. John's, and I'm looking forward, once we're through this recent pandemic, that we can once again get over and visit folks over there. So the Insurance Bureau of Canada is the National Association for Canada's private home, auto, and business insurers, and our members represent 90% of Canadian property and casualty, as that sector is known, in the property and casualty insurance market. Today, I want to discuss issues that are impacting commercial insurance in Canada, and I'll talk about some of the unprecedented steps our industry has taken to support commercial clients. And then I'm going to speak briefly about how we can all work together, industry, business, and government, to address the current challenges that we're having. The last section of this presentation, now I've got about 23 slides here, 26 in total, but 23 that are sort of the meat and bones of it. But the last section will cover some of the resources that the insurance industry has put together to assist commercial clients, such as folks in the tourism industry, hospitality industry, and then we can take questions, or as Stan's said, if something important comes up, I'm certainly just jump right into that question if I'm able to answer that right away. So let's start by talking about the current state of the industry. So Association, IBC, understands that businesses, and especially the tourism and hospitality sector, is facing some extraordinary challenges due to the difficult economic conditions created by this COVID-19 pandemic. We know that there are real challenges concerning the availability, and Canada's commercial insurance industry was facing challenges even before the pandemic in 2020. There had been an extended, or has been an extended period of weather-related claims that were both more severe and more frequent. I think the new catchword in the insurance industry these days is that water is a new fire. Severe weather has been one of those things that we have been seeing causing that. And in certain lines of business, insurer losses were increasingly impacted by this severe weather. Additionally, insurers have seen difficult market conditions in their investments, which is one of the ways that insurers are able to make some revenue. So the increase in claims combined with market pressures have caused some insurers to reconsider the types of risks they're willing to underwrite. This has led to reductions in supply, or in other words, a reduction in the amount of risk insurers can reasonably take on while keeping in line the obligation, they have to existing policies. This, unfortunately, has had a direct impact on premiums for some sectors of the economy. Despite challenging market conditions, insurers have been able to cover increasing claims by using reserves that they've accumulated through investments. However, an extended period of record low interest rates for bonds, which is where we invest most of our funds, has impacted investment income. Insurer reserves have been impacted, and that's led to capacity withdrawal in certain commercial product lines. As you know, insurance is highly regulated by governments, and that includes how insurance companies can invest, which is primarily limited to the bond market. Now, on this slide, we can see that commercial property claims have been quite volatile in Newfoundland over the past 5 years. And this chart is for all commercial property, including tourism and hospitality sector, the tourism and hospitality sector. The average direct claims incurred over the last 5 years is $90.8 million, compared to $64 million in the 5 years before that. So this graph shows the upward trends in costs and volatility with several of those spikes. The not so subtle message in this graph is that claims costs have been increasing steadily over the past 2 decades, and insurers have to price for that. While we'd like to see a return to soft market conditions that predate late 2019, the reality is we can't predict when the market will stabilize. The pandemic has thrown new risks into an already hard market. And frankly, it's hard to predict when this cycle will end. I mean, it was something that we lived through in the early 2000s, and it's in the last few years, it's started again. So to gain a broader understanding of how the challenging market conditions are impacting Canadian insurers, intermediaries, and commercial clients, IBC commissioned a report by international financial consultancy firm Deloitte. Deloitte's report, State of the Canadian Commercial Property and Casualty Insurance Market, was released in early November last year. The report states that the Canadian commercial insurance market became a, quote, hard market in 2019, which means the market entered into a period of higher rates and reduced underwriting capacity for certain lines of business in specific regions. This hard market follows a prolonged soft market cycle characterized by low rates, high limits, flexible contracts, and high availability of coverage. Excuse me. Deloitte concludes that the challenges affecting the availability of commercial insurance are complex, with global macroeconomic factors and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic compounding the issue. Years of insufficient underwriting profitability driven by rising claims costs and low returns on investments led to an overall decline in the net income between 2015 and 2019 for property and casualty insurers. There's a couple of quotes in the report that I'd like to use here, and I think they'll be helpful in understanding the current situation. One quote on page 3 of the report says, "Global macroeconomic conditions remain uncertain, and investors are therefore hesitant to provide capital. Insurers may accept less risk and reduce their underwriting capacity to ensure sufficient financial strength to service future claims." Later on page 10, the report states that the uncertainty in global macroeconomic conditions reduces insurers' ability to rely on investment income to achieve profitability. Insurers tend to respond through greater hesitation to take on risk that might negatively impact the underwriting results, further reducing the market's capacity. Additionally, uncertain macroeconomic conditions reduce global investors' willingness to provide capital, creating further capacity constraints. Deloitte said insurers and its clients must prepare themselves for a continuation of current hard market conditions, and a full Canadian economic recovery is forecast for 2022 at earliest. After that point, Deloitte reports that it expects economic impacts on the insurance market will be reduced, which is likely to result in a rise in underwriting capacity and lower annual increases in clients' insurance rates. However, action is still required in the short term, and Canada's insurers and our intermediaries need to find creative solutions to ensure that Canadian businesses can access the insurance that they need. And we are taking action. I'll explain that a little later on in this presentation. Now, the next few slides will focus on the tourism sector specific to Newfoundland and Labrador. Now, I suspect this is information you may have already seen or may be familiar with, but we thought we'd share it to put with you to put in plain view the issues that your sector is facing. So, employment in the tourism sector, it has plummeted. And according to Tourism HR, Canada's tourism employment tracker, the Newfoundland tourism sector has been significantly impacted by COVID-19. The graph shows the total number of individuals employed in Newfoundland and Labrador's tourism sector for each month of 2020 and compares it to monthly employment in 2019. It's important to look at the gap between the line and the which represents 2019 employment, and the dark bars, which represent 2020. And then we've got the first 2 months of 2021 in there, which are the lighter shaded bars. And while the graph shows employment increasing on a monthly basis, total employment in 2020 was significantly lower than 2019. Naturally, tourism employment declined 5 months in a row, shedding 135,300 jobs, with a total decrease of about 593,000 jobs since January of 2020. This is a graph. This is a Canada-wide graph looking at tourism's GDP. And again, the downturn in your sector is stark. GDP in tourism-related industries improved slightly in the last few months of 2020, but at $63 billion in November, it's only reached 62% of its January 2020 levels. Some industries, such as food services, were doing slightly better, but were still down significantly, while others, such as air transportation, remain down by more than 80%. The value of the actions taken by Canada's insurance industry to provide relief to personal and business customers during the pandemic is unparalleled in the financial services sector and amounts to over $2.4 billion. We are one of the only industries that is actively putting money back into the pockets of the consumers of our industry. We're doing even more to help businesses across Canada during these extraordinary times. Go over now how we're supporting some of the businesses. To weather the storm, IBC and its member companies have implemented a comprehensive action plan to support commercial clients and business owners. This work began before the pandemic as insurance challenges began to emerge in certain sectors like the condominium sector and commercial trucking. In early 2020, IBC launched a national task force on commercial insurance, and that's brought insurers and their customers together to discuss challenges in the market to develop solutions. We held roundtables across the country with condominium stakeholders in Alberta and British Columbia. The Canadian commercial trucking industry, the not-for-profit sector, and the hospitality industry, including tourism. As I was mentioning to Stan earlier, this is the third presentation we've done in this region. We've presented previously to the Tourism Industry Association of Nova Scotia and in Prince Edward Island. So some of you may have participated in our national roundtables on the tourism sector that was held last fall. IBC has also established a commercial support team to meet with businesses and organizations to understand the issues specific, the issues that are specific to sectors that they're facing, and to work with their members to find solutions to these. The National Task Force is working on its final report outlining public policy recommendations for specific sectors discussed throughout the roundtable sessions to be published this month. And so later this month, we're hoping to get this report that is being put together. And we've invested additional experts and trained risk managers in challenged jurisdictions to work directly with the broker of record to provide commercial clients with the information and insight they need to find affordable insurance. We set up a dedicated commercial helpline to assist business owners in understanding the market dynamics and their insurance options, and we're working closely with the Canadian Federation of Independent Business and other associations across the country to triage sector-specific issues as they arise. IBC's also increased public awareness and education, including a dedicated website, so businesses and organizations are equipped with essential information on risk management and strategies to access detailed information about current market conditions and potential public policy options. In today's session, it's another way that we're reaching out to the business community and business owners directly. We want to hear directly from you and about the issues that you are facing. We are continuing to engage with government and stakeholders to seek solutions as the COVID-19 pandemic places even greater stress on the commercial insurance market. IBC's highly experienced team of risk managers specializes in identifying risks and recommending preventative measures to minimize these risks. These primarily deal with the broker of record. They primarily deal with the broker of record, which is the broker that you'd be dealing with on your actual account, and then making sure that they're looking at everything. So it's important to know that IBC's risk manager service doesn't take a one-size-fits-all approach. It's customized to your specific business needs. So if you don't have a broker of record, call the helpline for an explanation on the insurance placement system in Canada and the best way to find an insurance broker or an agent that meets your needs. They'll also review your current policy and provide suggestions on how you and your broker or agent can enhance the insurance placement goals for you. The first step is to access IBC's risk manager, is to call them directly. And we have a dedicated helpline. And it can be called at 1-844-2-ASK-IBC, or that's 1-844-227-5422. That's 1-844-227-5422. 5422. And I'll be providing some of this information to Stan afterwards. So if folks don't get that, you can get in touch with Stan. So this 1-800 number, this service is available to help any business organization, including not-for-profits, that are facing challenges with the availability and affordability of insurance. We've got highly trained experts that are offering tremendous expertise and value at no cost to support businesses and organizations and help them secure coverage. The risk managers are already working with multiple businesses and organizations since this initiative was launched in early 2020. And we're already hearing success stories. This next slide includes a very short video we've been using on our social platforms to promote this service. Bear with me 1 second, I'll try to make that run.
Tom, is there audio with that?
Yes, sorry, there is audio with it, but it's just a musical background. So.
Okay.
And there you see our phone number. So if folks want to jot that down again, I'll leave that slide up for a couple of seconds. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Here we go. My apologies. So to date, we've had more than 1,600 calls to our insurance helpline, and IBC and insurers have helped more than 150 businesses find insurance coverage through our risk manager and our insurance partnerships. And there's a few examples, if I may, that I can talk about. There was an organization in Ontario that ran a seasonal not-for-profit social club that catered to families, and it was operated by volunteers. And the organization was initially declined coverage from its insurer because of the change in its market appetite. Our risk manager worked closely with the business and its broker, and we were able to find them coverage on the regular market. And another example was a large hotel in Saskatchewan, also unable to find insurance after shopping its policy to a number of brokers and insurers. The business risk manager was able to find a solution to them. That business had some anomalies. It offered off sales of liquor, which is the sales of liquor from a bar, which I think is becoming more common these days. And it also had a pub and a restaurant and a pool facility. As I mentioned, our risk manager worked with a number of brokers and that were involved, and we were able to find coverage for the business in the regular market at a nominal increase from their previous year's premium. So our risk manager has shared some tips and strategies to consider for your business, and based on experience of working with customers like yourselves and their brokers across Canada, and you'll see them on this slide. And these are conversations that you should have with your insurance representative, your broker. And for example, the feasibility of separating high-risk operations into different corporate entities, ensuring insurance underwriter has a strong and accurate understanding of your business, and any actions that you may have recently taken to mitigate risk and address prior claims, updating business interruption limits to reflect any adverse financial impacts of the pandemic, showing the insurance underwriter how your business model may have pivoted from the prior year, and ensuring that websites and social media reflect your new business model, and updating your revenues and liquor sales figures on insurance applications for the current COVID-19 period in lieu of restating last year's figures. So managing risk is an essential part of every business, large or small. And you can help control the cost of your insurance premiums and improve your business operation by adopting risk management strategies. The steps you take today can lead to long-term savings on your insurance premiums. The most important way to start this process is work with a commercial insurance agent or broker who knows your type of business and is willing to invest the time and effort to understand your specific needs. Proactive insurance agent or broker is a valuable asset for your company. Risk management strategies can be varied depending on the type of business. When planning your insurance coverage, an important step to take with the help of your insurance representative is to identify those potential losses that could critically threaten your business and insure against them. Ask questions about everything you think could happen to your business and how would the insurance coverage respond. You can help protect your property from loss and help reduce insurance costs by taking a few positive steps on your own to discourage burglars, shoplifters, vandals, arsonists, and others. Investing in loss prevention often results in lower insurance premiums. This isn't a challenge that can be successfully confronted by any one player when there are no silver bullets. However, when businesses and insurers work in partnership, there are many avenues for success. For business owners, there are steps that can be taken to reduce the risk profile, and that includes work with your insurance representative to ensure you have the right coverage for your needs. And I understand, develop a robust risk management strategy. Make sure that your broker and insurer know you have one. And I note that for the majority of businesses, coverage is available. Insurance is a highly competitive industry, and we always say it's important to shop around. Not all brokers sell for all insurers. While many businesses have been with a specific broker, sometimes for years or even decades, it's important to talk to different brokers and see what the market has to offer. So remember, there are steps you can take. Manage your risk in ways we've already discussed. You can, and I can't stress this enough, if you run a high-risk business or have numerous claims, your business is going to have to find a way to lower that risk profile. Talk to your broker or insurance representative and make sure they understand your business. And if they don't, shop around, shop the market. And finally, you can always ask for help. And IBC can help you. Visit our businessinsurancehelp.ca website. I alluded to this earlier. It's what governments can do. Now, as businesses seek to reestablish operations and restore their balance sheets in the midst of the continued impacts of COVID-19, all of these businesses will be confronting many uncertainties. Government also has a role to play by implementing temporary measures to provide liability immunity for businesses. Liability immunity reforms support businesses in the midst of undertaking the substantial challenge of attempting to recover from the impacts of the pandemic while ensuring sufficient consumer protection. The end result is that businesses following protocols may be protected against costs associated with frivolous lawsuits, and consumers remain protected with businesses required to follow government protocols. The governments of Ontario, British Columbia, and New Brunswick have passed legislation or emergency orders that provide temporary civil liability protection to individuals, businesses, and other organizations that make an honest effort to follow public health guidelines against COVID-19 exposure-related lawsuits. Saskatchewan introduced legislation last December, Bill 23, and it's had at least one reading. Liability immunity isn't a silver bullet. In fact, there aren't any for the current commercial market. However, each action that government and business owners take to reduce risk will help. Oops, sorry, I got ahead of myself there. So I'd just like to close by saying that the challenges in Canada's commercial insurance market won't end overnight. The impact of COVID-19 on businesses and the increasing cost of severe weather events and natural disasters remain difficult to forecast, but are likely to continue to pose issues for this foreseeable future. And that'll put even greater risk on insurers, on brokers, and commercial clients. Canada's insurers stand with our business customers, and we believe that by working together alongside our government partners, we can meet and overcome the challenges we face today in the commercial insurance market. And encourage anyone experiencing challenges securing insurance to use the resources that we've established to help, including businessinsurancehelp.ca and our 1-800 hotline. So we're here to help. Thanks very much. And with that, I'll turn it back to Stan. And if you've got any questions, we'll take them now.
Perfect. So you folks did see that 1-844-227-5422. That's been posted even in our chat room. And there's a couple of questions there, Tom. I'm going to throw it over to Robin, because Robin had a question. Yeah, she's off mute. Go ahead, Robin. This is Patty. Go ahead. The line is yours. Caller 1.
Hello, everyone. I don't think I got my camera on.
No, you're good. Your camera's on.
What's that?
Yes, Robin, we can see
you lying in the bed there, lazy as a dog.
I know, but there's too much noise downstairs, so I decided to come up here. Darn. Anyway, I missed half of it because I almost forgot about the meeting, but I'm glad I chimed in when I did. One thing we found, we only ended up with one underwriter giving our insurance company a quote for our company this year. It increased last year by 25%, and it increased again this year by 25%. We weren't asked if we had a risk management program in place or strategy in place. We were just given one quote, and we have to have an inspection, which was $1,000 fee. We had to pay something else on another fee, and then our insurance was $13,000 whatever. And so we went back to our insurance company and we said, we have to start cutting. What do we cut? We need insurance. But so we managed to save $1,000 on a premium to pay for that inspection.
Yeah.
That's where we're sitting.
Right. And if I may, Robin, are you running a hotel type?
It's a motel and a restaurant, Clodetown Motel and Restaurant.
Right.
And our underwriter that had us last year even pulled out. They're not, to the best of our knowledge, they're not even insuring our industry anymore.
Right. And that was a part of what I discussed in the first part of the presentation, which you mentioned you weren't able to join us on, that the market is described by the industry these days as being a hard market. And this is something that hasn't come about simply because of the pandemic. It's something that's come about in the last number of years as a result of increasing claims brought about by severe weather. For example, we've had a number of increasing claims, and I had a graph, and I mentioned to Stan, I'll share the presentation and you can take a look at it, but we've had increasing claims due to weather-related events over the last number of years. Yes. And the industry makes its money a couple of ways: by collecting premiums, obviously, from customers, but it also makes money from investments. And the investments vehicle that we use typically are bonds, government bonds, and the rate of return on those bonds hasn't been very high. And if you're not getting that type of return on that investment, then we have got to increase our premiums. So in order to cover it, so that stuff. So that's the type of thing we're seeing. Again, you probably saw the last part. If you're working with a brokerage, and I mentioned this briefly, a brokerage company will typically represent 4 or 5 different insurance companies. You can always shop around, go to another brokerage, another broker. They may have different insurers, 4 or 5 different ones, and they may have some appetite for your business.
We were told that they did shop around to different places and they only had one bite.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can trust them. We did try another insurance company. We've been with this company ever since we've owned it, since back in 2002, and we haven't moved. We've got different prices from other companies and they couldn't match who we're with. I don't care. We're with Wedgwood Insurance, and Agile is who provided them with a quote for us this year, but only one. What would we have done if we didn't get a quote? Right. We wouldn't have any companies. I know we don't have any international travelers now coming in, but there's companies we deal with that we need to provide them with our policy in order for them to send clients our way.
Right, and this is this is exactly the type of situation that the risk manager is able to help with.
Okay.
So Tom, so if they call the toll-free number to ask IBC, you will be given a risk manager. I guess you'd go on the businessinsurancehelp.ca first, or however.
Yes, and you'd ask to speak to the risk manager for a commercial risk manager. They'll likely direct you to that person. They might ask you for some specific information, and that person will get in touch with you, or they may transfer you. That risk manager will work with your insurance representative, your broker, whatever. You have to give them permission to do that, obviously, and to get some of the specifics regarding your file, and then they'll work with you.
Because
they don't work separate from Stan. They don't work separate from the broker. They're going to work with your broker and you. Yeah.
So you've noticed positive things happening with having a management strategy, a risk management strategy?
Well, with risk management, yes. And some insurance premiums have gone up a lot more than 25%, Robin, I can tell you that. Some of them have been a lot higher than 25%.
The other company that we went and asked if they could provide us with a price, they don't even like being in insurance anymore.
Yeah.
They're so disappointed with how they have to tell their clients what's going on. And they said, you're better off accepting what you were offered. That's all they said.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say, Robin, I've been hearing that through the last bunch of months. It's heartbreaking. And so, I mean, this is what this is about, is get some real tactical solutions. So if you call this person, you get in touch with the risk manager, they'll walk you through. I mean, Tom, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are like, I mean, if I know Craig's had conversations with people, Craig Foley, we've talked about, some people said that their insurance has gone up by hundreds of %, like multiple hundreds. Like you fall off the chair, listen to this stuff. So it's like, this is really all about us being able to talk to someone and someone helping us work our way through the best way possible. It's a crazy situation.
Yes, no, and the risk manager is obviously someone with years of experience in the industry, much more experienced than myself, who's able to deal with the broker and get a better understanding of your business by speaking with the broker, and hopefully finding a solution for you.
Thank you. I didn't even know that was an option. So appreciate
it. It is something new. It's not been around, Robin, for a long time. Like I said, we started this last year because we were hearing increasingly from our commercial clients, not just hospitality and tourism, but as I mentioned, condominium corporations, commercial trucking, this type of thing.
Yeah, like, so years ago, if we didn't have claims or anything like that, you would be awarded.
Yes, and in fact, I mentioned early on as well that the insurance industry this year was able to actually return some premiums to some of our commercial clients because they knew that the businesses were not operating and the risk was lower. So there were refunds provided in some cases.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robin, because I think what your situation, as you know, is very, very common in the industry right across the country, especially in Labrador and Newfoundland. It's wicked, man. Okay, anyone else have a question for Tom? Oh, Randy, get your hand up. I think I saw Randy. Is that right?
Yeah, apologies, Tom. I didn't catch all your presentation, but I've been listening to the last part of you talking about risk management, and that's been my experience working with international operators who've brought clients here to Labrador from foreign countries and to do some extreme adventure. And when I asked them how it is that they could, fly a client or to Switzerland, arrive in a private plane and do a canoe trip on the Churchill River here in Labrador, not having been here before, and how does that work with insurance? And this operator pulled out a binder in the backseat of his rental car and said, "Look, this is a binder," and it was 2 inches thick, and it was all that he had there was a risk management plan. And
Right.
I thought that that says a lot about how to manage that. So my question is, and I give that advice to everybody I talk to that are in the same situation, is that you need to have a risk management plan. You need to convince your broker that you've got all the risks identified and mitigated, and preparation in place for those circumstances. So is there something that you can offer up a small business owner by way of a template or a suggested approach to a risk management plan? Is there something that, of all your experience you had, that you can just suggest there?
I'm not familiar, Randy, if we have something like that. And I think that's a great idea. To have something like that. I know recently I was dealing with the Nova Scotia Heritage Trust, which is a heritage property organization, dealing with much the same issues that we're talking about today. And we were actually developed for them, as a result of that presentation, a risk prospectus, we call it. And what that's specific to heritage properties, the age of the building material, where it is, and that's the type of thing. And that's about 2 pages that we're telling them to fill it in and provide that to the broker. Not seen anything like that for a business. I'll certainly inquire about that and see if there is something like that. And I think it's an excellent suggestion, Randy. And it might be something your insurer could, if asked, might be able to provide as well. They might be able to say, what is it you're looking for if you've got something. But I'm sorry, Randy, I don't think we have that, but I will inquire.
Thanks, Tom. And perhaps maybe when folks reach out to the toll-free number and talk to the risk manager, they might be able to direct them in a place online, most likely, or maybe over the phone, and help them create a template for their own specific operation. I think Mr. Stone has a question. Ian, did I see you in the chat room saying you have a question?
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're coming through.
Yeah. So about 2.5 hours ago, I got a call from our somebody representing our insurance company, who said that they're going to be in our area this Friday, and on behalf of Burns & Wilcox, who's our insurer, and Calla Rowe, who's our broker, they were going to come up and do an inspection on Friday. Haven't heard of this. Is this common in the industry, or is it just because of where we are now?
It is common, and I think a brokerage firm is encouraged by the insurer, to know their client's business. I would see that as a good thing. They might point something out to you that maybe needs to be remedied that you've not considered before. So that's a possibility that they could do that. So the insurers are just to know your business. I think it's a good thing that they're doing this. They should.
Only concern or red flag was that they thought my property was a 1 to 4 room. It's 18 rooms, and now I'm afraid.
Well, that's why they want to get to know you, Ian. They don't know you. That's the problem.
No.
Yeah. Good. That's cool. Anyone else? Question for Tom?
Yeah, I got a question
Yeah,
here.
go ahead, Tuckamore. I don't think it's Barb there, but it's someone in the background.
No, is there Newson's son and Bridget?
Okay, go ahead, boy.
We go through Isaac here, CMG. they go to Burns and Wilcox. I guess Isaac is something of our risk manager, I guess.
Is
Hey.
Isaac is a company, Isaac's?
Yeah, the company's CMG.
Oh, CMG,
Insurance and brokers. And he deals with Burns and Wilcox, famous company just in. And then they deal with Merit Insurance, premium financing. That's who we pay in the end.
Explain that, Tom, for gosh sakes.
Yeah, so the insurance industry, just so I'll take a couple of steps back here. IBC represents the large insurance companies in Canada. So these are the big insurers that you may have heard of: Intact, Aviva, Wawanesa.
Yeah.
And then the brokerages will actually represent 4 or 5 of those big insurers. So I liken it to the car industry. We represent the manufacturers: Ford, GM, Volkswagen. The brokerages are the retailers that you go to who sell you the car. Now, often in the insurance industry, there are a number of subsidiaries and holding companies. So, for example, there's a company that's called Economical Insurance. It also has a line of insurance called Sonnet. So many of these companies have different entities like that. And then, of course, there are also reinsurers. These are insurers that back up the insurers. And so that could be any number of these permutations that we're looking at in that case.
Okay, so each one of these guys, did it cost more money? Because, I don't mind dealing with Merit or whatever, but, how do we cut out all these middlemen?
Well,
Good question.
The brokerage is well, yeah. You're putting me in a. I mean, some insurers sell directly to clients. Some of our members sell directly to clients. They don't go through a brokerage network.
Mm-hmm.
And these are direct sellers. And then you can actually apply to get insurance from them either online or through a 1-800 number.
So it's up to them if they deal with your not allowed dogs, basically.
Yes. So you pick them. The advantage of a broker is they represent 4 or 5 companies, and they'll shop it around. When you say to them, okay, can I get a better deal if I go with, instead of company A, if I go to company B, can you do it? And they'll tell you the pros and cons of doing each. One company might be better on this type of property, or one company might have more experience dealing with this type of business. So that's the broker will know that type of thing.
It's kind of like when you used to go around and look for auto insurance yourself. You pick the best one, and other than that, you got a guy who went and looked for you at 5 or 6 different places instead of you sitting down making all the phone calls.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And then you pay him a premium.
Right. Auto insurance is slightly different. Auto insurance is a highly regulated product. We superintendent of insurance regulates that.
Mr. Little there said about a risk management plan, but in tourism, where I'm moose hunting and caribou hunting and boat tours and everything else, when you do a risk management plan, how big is the book when you do everything in the world, basically? What do you do a risk management for a guy that goes over the wharf and trips up in something, and then the guy that's in the cutover moose hunting falls down on a stump, breaks a rib? It goes from one extreme to the other when you're at this business in tourism here, because you're on uneven ground, which is a big no-no, I guess, for most insurance companies if you want to walk up right a lot of times and not twist and break stuff. And then you got down unknowns. You could be out in the woods, and a tree falls from up top and hits somebody. I guess, sometimes I've been told that you're pretty much liable because you're the guy who brought them into the country to go moose hunting.
Right. Again, work with your broker or insurer to get work and develop the risk plan that they would like to see from your company, from your business.
Yeah, this is a good idea, but this is going to be hard to do in our business because there's so much diversity when you come to a building with here. Not just a building, you go to many different places.
Yeah.
So I gotta stop talking because I get that many questions and stuff. You'd be burned out. Anyways, have a good day.
No, well, no, that's good. That's legit too, to figure out how the systems work. Mr. Foley just came back online, and Craig has a saying that if he doesn't post on social media, it didn't happen. Were you getting ready to say that, Craig?
Well, what I was going to say first, Stan, was I remember back in the Adventure Tourism Association days, there was a fair amount of work done around risk management. I think your expert was Ross Cloutier
He
at
was.
the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember much to speak about that. Maybe I think Stephen may learn from, because this guy was doing expeditions of mountains and things, and he would have risk management plans for that complexity.
Yeah, Ross literally wrote the book, and I didn't want to get into it now. I wrote a few notes. I was going to reach out to you afterwards. Even when we had our kayaking hike company, which wasn't as elaborate and as diverse as you guys have, but our risk management plan was a pretty hefty binder too, for taking people for walks and paddling around. So Ross is the guy. I jotted his name down. It was something I want to talk about afterwards, because it could be some interest out there in helping develop a risk management template type plan. He's a good resource for that. And
I'm sure there are more. I just
100%.
wanted to make the point that risk management plans are pretty extensive and pretty commonplace, I think, for many of the tourism products.
Very much so.
But Stan is right. If it's not on Twitter, it didn't really happen. And this is Tourism Awareness Month. So I'm going to ask everyone to turn on your camera just so we can get a picture. I think we need to be able to celebrate a little bit and let people know that we're who we are and what we're doing, and we're learning and we're professional.
I'm going to take the picture, Craig. One thing about, we got to get Johnny Devereaux out of bed. So if Johnny gets to talk there. One sec, guys. Hold that pose.
All right. The person with the dog's going to win every time.
All right, I think I got you,
You're
all
taking
guys.
pictures? Where are these pictures going?
These pictures are going to be posted.
Where? On your bed.
You're doing something, Robin.
I'll be your broker. No worries. I'll be the agent.
Oh my God.
Well, you got a lot of smiling faces around, so pictures will go
Randy,
well.
I didn't know you attended these meetings.
So listen, guys, this is great. I mean, unless there's some other questions, I think this is really valuable. Guys, jump on that website and go to that toll-free number. It seems to be the next opportunity to talk to someone and try to figure out some way to help you mitigate these challenges and mitigate your costs. So Tom, thank you very, very much. It's really appreciated. And we it's a special thanks for everyone that joins us, boys. I know we're in a really rough spot, but these type of webinars and sessions really help. And as Craig just mentioned, this month is Tourism Awareness Month, so there's a whole bunch of really solid skills and knowledge opportunities coming up this month. Most of them are online. Some of them, if you're lucky enough, could be face-to-face. Most of them are virtual. So take a chance, have a look on the website, see what's out there. There's a bunch of topics that would be very relevant and very valuable to you, like this one that Tom just presented.
The other thing I'll say, we will be doing our regular e-news blasts. And when you see people who should be on sessions like that but are not here, be sure to reach out to them and remind them that these opportunities are taking place. Insurance is one of the ones that we heard for the last year that's been really impacting businesses. We saw this as a very helpful tool to help understand this and find ways to mitigate those impacts. And Tom, certainly thank you to you and IBC for doing this. And I'm sure you will get some follow-up, or your risk managers or 800 line will get some follow-up from some people as a result of this. So thanks. We'll keep the communication open. Any other opportunities that you can bring to our members and industry, we'll certainly make the opportunity available to do that in a format similar to this. And hopefully one day very soon we can do it in person.
Perfect.
That would be fantastic. I'd love to do that in person.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys. Thanks. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Tom. Brittany, thank you so much for helping set this all up. And guys, we'll see you at the next session. Cheers.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Robin.
everyone. Nice chatting with you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Randy.